shit.
You know the place.
Yeah.
This is an interview I did with Operator Starsky. He's a Ukrainian military veteran. He's currently a public relations officer. I think that's the title. With the Ukrainian military. And I was fortunate to have some of his time to be able to talk to him and share it with you guys. I've been carrying this interview around with me for over a year, and I finally was able to get it edited. So here it is. Please enjoy.
I ate too many cakes on the road trips. It's like
Сейчас, секундочку. Це так, що це плаский чизкейк, там сир Філадельфії. Він запікається з яйцем. Це типа міні-запіканка. Тут в цьому шоколаді є прикосок. Так, американ з молоком, американ звичайний і праский тортик. І вам скидочку розберу, десь 157,50. Карта? А це біля нас десь бахнуло?
Ну, скоріше за все, перекупили, тому що наш винищувач пішов.
Я принесу.
Ага, окей.
it's funny, in 12 years in Afghanistan, it would be like a week in Ukraine is like the incoming of 12 years in Afghanistan.
I agree. One day in Hosanna was like my whole 8 years in Donbass.
Yeah, I think basically I'm just like a dude out here trying to get as much help for like Ukraine as possible. Everybody who's kind of part of the Ukrainian media efforts, you know, I really want to reach out and try to like get them on.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I will, when you make this video, I will repost it.
I was thinking of doing like a podcast kind of deal with like very human stories.
I blame bad marketing. Ukraine is like a secret spot. Nobody knows about it.
Yes.
But if you know people, you fall in love with this country.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was here in like 2018. Nobody had any idea. I've never met a single person who would ever visit.
Yeah.
And then I go there one time, and then at first it's very intimidating as like an American.
Of course.
I couldn't read anything, couldn't understand anybody, and then nobody smiles. Nobody.
People are like grumpy.
Yeah. Once you peel those layers away and you talk to people, you're like, oh, these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian ingenuity, like, we don't need so much. We can do amazing things with what we have. World class. There's so many things.
Have you been to the Smithsonian Airspace Museum?
Yes.
Yeah,
it is unbelievable. The history of like flight is insane. When there's two different groups at the same time, like trying to make the first aircraft.
Yeah, I was amazed to see that spacesuit with like actual moon dust on it.
Oh yeah. You know the U-2 spy plane? They had us do some repairs on it. It's very thin metal. It had dust on it from the desert. And they're brand new airmen.
In the military, as a new guy, you're often presented with problem or some kind of a thing to help give you a challenge to earn your stripes as a new person. And this is a story about a new guy who was sent to take a sample of space dust off of a U-2 plane. U-2s fly at extremely high altitudes. The pilot has to wear a spacesuit, a real spacesuit, to survive those high altitudes. And so it's kind of feasible that there might be some kind of space-related thing there. But we were basically just messing with the new guy, or some people were messing with the new guy.
So the U-2 flies so high that it collects space dust. You have to go collect the space dust samples and then take it to non-destructive inspection. You gotta wear a full face respirator, you gotta wear gloves, all this protection, and then like carefully got the sample. He took it all the way over to non-destructive inspection. And they have a Geiger counter for x-rays or something. And there's this little puck that's like a control. They put that under the sample, and then they went, boop, 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 and then they went, oh, and then They have this red light if there's like X-rays or something, so they turn that off. Boop, boop. It's like an alarm system. They called the ambulance over. They came over. The kid started to cry, so we had to like stop. We were like, "Oh, he's crying now." We got in so much trouble because he legitimately thought he had like exposure. New guy.
So much fun with those new guys. I remember I had a BTR driver. We were relocating from the base camp to in the area of Svetlodarskoj. So we were relocating from the camp to basically to our positions to the front line. And I was a platoon NCO. I went there to assess the column. Everything looked okay, and there was my driver. We talked for a sec, and then I returned to the camp, and I received a message that my driver broke his fingers. And I was like, first question was for some reason like, how many fingers?
Yeah, well, that's a fair question.
The answer was all of them. And I'm like, I just talked to him, literally. Like, how did it happen? He was moving his BTR, and that hatch was open. But you have to lock the hatch. But because he was new, and he was stupid, he didn't do that, and he was like holding his arm, like grasping the
rim.
Yeah, the rim. There was like a small hole, and when BTR moved, over that hole, it bumped, and that hatch closed, and it was not as massive as in tank because he would lose his fingers.
But still, that would hurt so bad.
So he could grasp his hand the other way, I was like, oh. And we had no like additional driver.
Whole thing, and then you get in trouble for your.
Of course.
He's unsupervised for like 30 seconds. I swear.
He had parents. They should have taught him.
They should have taught him not to put your fingers in the door. Oh man, that reminds me of, so for sheet metal, for making aircraft parts, there's this massive shear.
Yeah.
Every single warning, where safety, don't put your fingers in the thing and all this stuff, each one of those warnings was somebody putting their fingers in the machine. Well, so there's a grate, and then if you have a smaller piece, you have to like use another piece to push it through. You don't put your hand in, you use something that's inanimate, not living, into the thing. So this guy is like carefully looking, and then he puts his hands in it. He's looking at the blade, but there's these pistons, because the piston holds down the metal because it has to be all the way stationary so it doesn't like move around, and then the blade goes down. So the piston got him, and then it just crunched like 3 fingers off. And you're like, I left you alone for like a minute, and then you take him to the hospital and all this stuff. Scoop his fingers in a cup, like, I don't. Do you want them or? They're yours.
Your finger smells weird. Like, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, where was this earlier? I knew you were gross, but geez. Then there's the guy that's just too dumb to get hurt. Like, how did you survive that?
There are such people. I remember there was a sergeant in my platoon. Like, he didn't command anything. It happens. Because he was stupid. And because he was stupid, he was like, like big, huge dude. Completely dumb. I decided that he should stay with me all the time in order not to cause problems to others, because yeah. So he was like my assistant or whatever. Those were 2 craziest weeks in my life, because I felt my brain just leaving my skull through my ear every day. He was like this. He was like sitting there catching signals from different planets,
Yeah.
Calculating something, and he would go, "Commander, I have a question. Am I fucking stupid, or the guys just make fun of me?" I'm like,
both. Both of those.
We had to dig trench, very long trench, like a couple of 100 meters in the night, of course, because that area the enemy could spot it. So we would go there in the night. I usually dug the trench. The dude was just sitting there talking, thinking, He was like, yeah, my grandma once told me, my grandma was a fucking smart person. I'm a fucking idiot, but she was a fucking smart person.
Just talking and talking.
Yeah. checking our positions, and we went to one squad that had heavy machine gun, the Dashka, DSHK. And it was loaded, the chain was loaded one after one, you know, like one round, one empty,
Oh,
one
yeah.
We were just, you know, watching the other side, like observing it with like binoculars and stuff. And I noticed this dude walking around this Dashka. He looked like a cat walking around, you know, like sour cream. And I knew something was gonna happen. I talked to the squad commander, and I'm like, bam! And it was a ceasefire, actually, in the middle of the day, when there's like hundreds of OSCE observers and stuff around.
Ready to go.
Yeah, this dude shot at, you know, in the general direction of the enemy, and we were like, fuck, yeah, what did you do? So I took him to the base camp. I told him to get all his stuff, and he's going to the rear.
Yeah.
Right now. He took all his stuff, then this truck arrived, and I was like, dude, go in the back, okay, of the truck. And then I talked to the driver, and of course I sat like in the front of the truck, and we went to our base camp. We were already approaching it, like already parking there, and I received a call from the guys from the position. They were like, you were supposed to take that dude with you. I did. They're like, you did not. I'm like, what? So I look into the truck, that there's nobody there.
Oh man.
So we turn around, we do all the same, you know, way to the positions. And there's this dude with his backpack. I'm like, he's like, I thought you were joking. Get the fuck into the truck. Here, I brought him to.
Joking.
I brought him to the base camp where he was digging toilets for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He was taken to Kiev, and of course he gave us his rifle, because rifles are attached to the unit.
Issued.
Yeah. So he gave out his rifle and ammunition and stuff. After a month, deployment finished. We returned back to Hostomel. We were cleaning everything, our rifle, our ammunition and stuff. One of our guys takes his rifle, and like, oh, the bullet, the round was chambered, and it goes out. And we're like, oh, so the dude had like rifle loaded with a round in the chamber for a month. He gave it to us without even like checking if, you know. I'm lucky because I'm bald, because otherwise I would have a lot of gray hair.
Yeah.
Funniest thing is that somehow he applied to the academy. He told us that he's gonna return as a lieutenant, and he will make us do push-ups. We were like, ha 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 ha.
There's always that guy.
There's always a guy.
There's always a...
We had like kitchen. It was basically a like construction made of wooden beams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a really nice kitchen, because there we had like a shelter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had like steps that were dug in the soil, and like shelter, underground shelter. So I lived there because it's like close to kitchen.
Yeah.
Which is always nice. This bastard pooped at the stairs.
No
Yeah.
way. There's a saying, you don't shit where you eat. There's a literal saying. It's been forever.
On the other hand, he could be very scared at some point. I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
We got shelled. Next day, we performed a ATGM strike on their positions.
Yeah.
And we were expecting to be shelled that night. So I was sleeping in the kitchen next to this shelter. I had a chair. It was like a huge soft chair that the guys took from some kind of garbage, you know. On my back I had like a lot of sandbags, like they were taller than the chairs, so I was more or less protected. My guy, one of our guys, a sniper, He was sleeping on the bed in the same kitchen. And we went to sleep. I went to sleep in the chair. While sleeping, I hear boom, boom, you know, the mortars fire. Even before the shells landed, I got up and I was screaming to this Dima, to this sniper, like, get up,
Yeah.
to the shelter. But because I was sleepy, my brain woke up,
Yeah.
my body didn't, and I went like, so I ran to the shelter, I jumped into it. At this very moment, the shell exploded and cut the wire that was charging our,
Yeah.
providing our position with electricity. It got destroyed, and I was like falling down like Superman into
Yeah.
this shelter, and bam, there's no light at this very moment, and my only thought was, holy shit, there must be this dude's poop somewhere here.
Yeah.
It was funny.
When you're asleep, and then because ours was this incoming, bum, bum, bum. Is like very like
Yeah.
if there's like that warning sound, you could be dead asleep. You hear it one time, you're like awake and moving already before you're like actually awake. I think all I had was underwear on, and then I always had my flip flops, my helmet, and my thing. So I heard the incoming, and then there was like a rocket strike, and then I just grabbed my stuff, run out, dived into the bunker, and then just like fell asleep with my stuff in the dirt.
My friend Bogdan, he was released from captivity last month. We were together at the position. He was on duty all the night, and then he went to sleep in the morning. I visited that position in the morning. I see Bogdan walking out of this shelter, wearing just, underwear, helmet, armored vest, and boots. He was like very sleepy, so went to the bushes to take a leak. He, while walking past that DCK that was there, he decided to make like a single shot, to keep those guys in a good mood. Because it's a DCK, it has a very long range, almost 3,800 meters, but you cannot shoot precisely. It's
Yeah.
impossible to shoot precisely.
It'll go there.
Yeah, it's like somewhere there. Like you have this like spray. He was like, I'm gonna say hello. So he sits into that sit and he shoots, and the first and only shot he made, it was a tracing bullet. It flew straight into the enemy position, into the window. We were like, holy shit, how did you do that? And I remember in a couple of days we were reading Russian news that Novorossiya or something, that their media. So they said that Polish snipers armed with Barrett 50 cal moved to were positioned on the Svetodar's Gulch.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It was like the connection to the universe of being like half asleep and just still dreaming a little bit. Like
There were some guys, they had their position like 2 kilometers away from us, but because it was across the water reservoir, we could see them well. They at some point we saw that there was like this hill with their firing position and observation position on the top, the like small beach like on the bottom of this hill.
Yeah.
And there's like a water reservoir. We're on this side, they're on the other side. At some point we saw a bunch of enemies that were like walking around. There was some kind of commander, showing like directions and stuff, giving orders. Our sniper was only armed with like SVD. You can shoot precisely SVD at the distance of probably like 600 meters max.
Yeah.
And it was too far. He was like walking around, looking at them, and like I gotta try. I'm like, dude, it's not gonna work. He's like, I gotta try. Yeah. And he was like lying down, like looking and aiming and stuff, then walking around again, looking at them. Dude, just take that DCK and do something. He made a burst from a DCK. Those guys fell down instantly, and then they stood up and started fighting, firing at us using their AKs at a distance of 2,000 meters. They were like like, yeah, like, and we were like standing there, like,
Effective range.
maximum range 3,000 meters, effective range 400. Because America protects democracy, this is probably mission of American people. Rather than explaining why Americans should support Ukrainians, I would prefer to say thank you to those who do that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, being a Ukrainian, I didn't expect such a support from anybody. Since 2014 until 2022, there were like couple of people in the world who would support us, bring us some humanitarian aid. Mostly they would care about civilians and stuff. People didn't recognize the global threat. They didn't take it seriously. Had they done it earlier, I think we would avoid a lot of casualties and destruction, like all that we see now in Ukraine. I want to say thank you to those who support Ukraine. I want to say that Ukrainians will never forget this.
Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. It really does help us out. We're trying to grow this channel. We really appreciate all of your support. And if you have any money you would like to donate to Ukraine, our medical relief efforts, or helping Americans who are volunteering in Ukraine, go to www.helpisonthewayua.com. The link is down below. Make sure that you select one-time or recurring donation on the website before you make the donation. Thank you very much for anything you're able to do. It really does help out a great deal. Thank you.